Well, welcome to another episode of Rivals, and in today's episode, of course, back again on Gran Turismo 4 with yet another bit of a different episode from the usual. And then after this, I believe it goes back to how it normally is. Now, today's episode request comes from GameWiz71, and it's the tale of two rally cars, more specifically Group B rally cars. The first one in hand, once I can go quickly grab it, is the Peugeot 205 Turbo 16 Evolution 2, a very late Group B car made in 1986, 449 horsepower, 361.5 pound-feet of torque.
Rally car.
Yeah, it weighs about
Group
910 kilograms.
Light. Death
Yes.
machine.
Yes.
Are you ready to die?
Yes.
Danger.
And from 1985, the Lancia Delta S4, 449 horsepower, 332.64 pound-feet of torque, 890 kilograms. Now, the difference in this episode is was kind of a fan of the older format of the Rivals thing, which, as you know, I kind of abandoned for a bunch of various reasons. And one of the reasons is a reason that I'm about to show off. That I knew was gonna kind of run into some problems if I were to keep going on with it. The first reason is that one of the deciding factors for the first point in terms of what you would be getting with the car was the price, the cost of the car. There's only one problem. Neither of these cars can be Neither of these cars can be purchased. You cannot purchase either the Delta S4 or the 205 Turbo 16 2. It's just not a thing you can do, unless you, of course, use something like a code breaker, in which case you'd be able to.
Yeah, but then you could just use cheat codes to give yourself the car anyway, so what would be the point?
Yeah. So, but yeah, basically, though, the whole idea, though, is that stuff like that, I always felt it was going to cause some problems, because, it kind of deviates from the original plans. But in terms of, I guess, if I were to still give it a point on what you're getting for the car, now keep in mind these are both prize cards. You can both win them from special events. I believe the Delta S4 is the Umbria Rally Hard, and the Peugeot is the George V Rally Hard, and you can win it both from there, and all you're getting for it is $20,000 and the car. So yeah, some problems caused there, but I guess really what it comes down to with this one is, do you want a car that weighs 20 kilograms less but has a little less torque, or do you want a car that weighs 20 kilograms more but has more torque?
Which car do you like more?
Yes. So if I were to, 361 pound-feet of torque, 910 kilos, 332 pound-feet of torque, 890 kilograms.
So
And
basically you're picking out the aesthetic.
Yeah, and honestly, this is a pretty hard choice to make because, horsepower is the same too. But if I were to go for one, I would say point one would go to the Delta S4, just because, it's not that far down on torque compared to the 205, and it's also 20 kilograms less.
And it's also got that sweet supercharger whine.
That too. But yeah, so point one will go to the Delta as we move on over to power and speed, as we're going to do of course, a quarter-mile run to see which car is the fastest and, well, acceleration test, you can put it that way.
To accelerate.
It is. I can see that this game, not exactly the biggest fan of this track on emulator, at least with my setup. With all those pedestrians, it does slow down a little bit. As we get a 0 to 400 time of 9.816 in the Delta S4, so fast, because not even 10 seconds and it's over.
Damn, that's quick.
Yep, that kind of just goes to show you the ludicrous acceleration of these cars back in the day, which made them pretty scary to drive, and is essentially why some consider Group B basically the death trap era. Because, well, You take a guess.
They do the fast.
Many people died to death.
Yep.
Something that Delta was one killer of a car.
Dad jokes.
This episode is sponsored by Constant Whinging at Bad Puns.
Frame rate.
And frame rate drop.
Yep, emulation. What can you do?
Play it on console.
And in a quarter mile, it's wow. Just over 10 seconds for the 205, 10.042. So that's with the case of the times, that's another point to the Delta S4. It's now at 2-0 over the 205 Turbo 16, to having done faster quarter mile with a 9.8. So far, this sounds like it's a better car, maybe. Actually, wait, no, actually. So let's... Oh, fuck. No. To be fair, I could have also done a quarter mile here, too, but it looks cooler doing it at the drag strip, because,
Tacos in space.
I didn't press triangle, what the fuck? Alright. Excuse me for all that. Top speed challenge. Now, these are rally cars. And we kind of know that rally cars don't exactly have the longest of top ends, so... And there's one thing I'm gonna have to quickly... So we kind of know that it's not exactly going to be, particularly by any means, something that is worth really going around the whole track for. So we're just going to, So we're basically just going to, you know, just keep driving the car up until we hit its absolute red line.
Something Laserhawk.
Yes. I will say it's at least the Peugeot does get a pretty high top end of about 160 miles an hour. I saw 160, and that was all it would write for the 205. So,
Yes.
160 miles an hour is the target time. I can't English still. It's the target speed for the Delta S4 to beat. So, let's go ahead and see how that will do. If we can quickly go and grab our S4. Okay, we've got it. So we can head back. So another reason I decided to go with the emulator is that this thing's much faster to... It's a lot faster to get through the menus, because load times are dramatic, and even saving is dramatically decreased. The only downside, frame rate's not exactly always the best, and that very weird transition thing you see where there's a weird like splash of something.
Something dank.
Like yellow, white, blue. I don't exactly know how to explain it. It's just... Oh, well, I do see the Delta S4 is reaching 160, but I think it's actually reaching... So yeah, this thing won't hit 161 either, so both these cars do hit 160, but the one difference I think is that the S4 hits 160, then goes a little bit further until it, you know, tops out at at that 160 mark. So I don't know. The 205 can just hit it, but the Delta can hit a little bit and then get near to 161, and then but it doesn't quite make it and then just gives up. So what do we say? Do we say the S4 gets a point, or should we just call it a draw since they both hit 160?
Christian is default gearing, so yes.
Call it a draw.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. They're so close anyways that we're safe to just call it a draw.
I'm sure all rally cars are just default geared to like 160, so
I mean, the whole test is basically going to come down to which car can handle better.
Which car can do a lap time better, indeed, yeah. That too.
Just because, you know, they're both rally cars, they both do the thing, and they both go off-road.
Yep. So, anyways, so we've done all those little tests. So far, it's a two points for the Delta, no points for the Peugeot, and a draw for. So we come to our track, and we've got a fairly interesting track. We've got Chamonix, or the original incarnation of Chamonix, because it would change after GT4.
Sweden Rally? Oh boy.
Yes. Chamonix, or as the game's files called this, Nur Snow. You can probably get the idea of what exactly Nur Snow is trying to reference.
Alaska.
To Alaska. I'm also noticing quickly too, now that we don't have anything in the likes of traction control or anything, that's all turned off for this, that the Delta is not particularly very stable at all. Like, really, it's really not.
It's a Group B car. Surprising.
I know, right? So this is a slightly longer track, because it's not exactly long in terms of its total length, but because there's so many corners and, you know, low speed areas, we'll probably just do 2 laps, and then, you know, just like we did in the previous episode, because, you know, somewhat of a longer track. Sorry, Game Wiz.
Give you something long.
I'm gonna mostly just sticking to the hood view. Jeez, that was like single-digit speed there through that one. Well, that one's just so tight. So.
Fuck, you're so tight.
Yeah, I'm just trying really hard to get this car around, but it's difficult because all it just wants to do is kind of slide and drift around the snowbanks and all that kind of stuff. So, and we're also getting some very weird graphical glitches. I don't know if this emulator particularly likes Chamonix very well in some cases, but well, it's not. It's more of just a minor thing, if anything. Although it is noticeable. I don't know. I just run with it's weird graphical settings, I know, but hey, it works, and that's usually all I go by. So we got our first time of a 2-minute 16.4. And now I'm kind of accidentally hugging the walls, and which I'm not trying to do. So
He's a wall hugger.
I know, right?
Disgusting.
The one thing I'm noticing too is that when on the early section of the track, which is like pavement rather than like the more looser snow, the snow, this thing just spins its wheels, and I can't really keep it much under control. I'm not trying to bounce off these walls, but seriously, trying to drive such a car like this in such a very tight, enclosed area with a lot of tight corners is yeah, not the easiest thing to do, particularly.
Gran Turismo 4's lack of fucking tire physics and tires being cold don't help at all.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's another thing too, that the one issue this game has is when you go off the surface, the car basically, it tends to kind of feels like it gets dragged in there, and that the car will just get flung or something. It's a very strange. I can't really describe it very well, I'm afraid.
Have to see the video to find out for ourselves.
Well, I mean, this video doesn't. This video is probably not going to explain it very well, but you can see how I'll try to brake for the corner to get the angle, and then it'll just keep going in that direction all the way to the wall.
Having driven both of the cars, I can kind of chime in and say, yeah, Thunder is in fact right on the money. Neither car really wants to respond, and they're kind of just brutish. And it's like, you want to turn, we're not going to turn. Fuck you. You wind up in the wall. Can't tell if that's just a case of, Group B being Group B, but...
Yeah, and I imagine there's probably going to be people who are better at driving this track than I am anyways, so...
Let's break it down.
Well, that was at least a much better second lap for that one. We finished off with a 2-minute 11, which is alright. I think 2-minute 11.034 is a decent benchmark for for the 205 to try to target to see if it can at least get a point. Because at this rate, the only thing that can really happen is it's either going to be a draw or the Delta wins. So that's what it comes down to.
The Delta's better car confirmed.
But anyways, let's go over to France. Go to Peugeot, and we're going to go to the 205 Turbo 16 Evo 2 Rally Car 86.
Turbo.
Long name. Fuck, this is the wrong track.
Oh, way to go.
I accidentally chose Ice Arena.
Wrong snow.
There we go, Chamonix. That's a sound effect.
Yes, it is.
Anyways, Chamonix.
Money.
Now, what am I expecting? Honestly, kind of more of the same, really. The Delta is a very loose animal, and oh my god, the 205 is very loose as well in the pavement areas. Although perhaps a little bit differently. It seems to do a little bit better with low speed. Could just be that extra torque, maybe. I don't know. But it definitely doesn't seem like it's a loose animal like the Delta is.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes.
Can it drift?
I mean, we're out of snow, and, you know, think rally cars tend to like to slide
cheating.
a lot. Oh, shut up. It can slide, so yes, it can drift. Yes, whatever sound effect you just made there. You've been making that sound quite a bit, apparently.
What sound effect?
Just sounds like something kind of like flickering or something. Some kind of. Well, I can't really describe it.
I don't know, managing my hair, I guess? I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, alright, definitely the one impression I'm getting already is the 205 is a lot nicer to drive by far. Oh, and I hear it again.
It's me scratching my head.
Weird. But yeah, the 205, the reason I like this a lot more is it's a lot more controlled. It doesn't feel like so loose or it's gonna be suddenly snap out on you. Oh, might have. Okay, maybe I might have accidentally spun the car a bit slightly.
You spin me right round, baby, right round.
I might have accidentally gave it too much angle for that one.
Gotta be careful of that.
I know I have to be careful for that. Gamers is probably looking at this thinking, why did I make you do this track? I'm better at it. I don't know. Well, all I know is that on the first lap, I've done a 2:11.1, which is, you know, very slightly... Jesus Christ, what does that sound? It's very slightly off the pace of the Delta, but then again... Okay, now you're just deliberately doing it.
I'm typing.
Apparently that's what typing is. I'm beginning to think that's not your headset.
Oh no, he's playing with the lawnmower!
That was a motorcycle headset.
No!
So yeah, anyways, like I was saying though, the 205 seems a lot more controllable. It likes to go faster around tracks, and kind of keep more poise. It feels like it's not going to slip up on you as easily, unless you pull a me and give it too much turning angle that you slightly spin it around a sharp corner. But I'm not going to fault the car for that. I'm just going to fault my driving.
Yes.
Because unlike DSP, I can take fault when I am at fault.
Game's bugged.
Something shitter's clogged.
Yes. Alright, but yeah, I'm definitely saying, like, out of the two cars, the 205 is a lot nicer to drive. It's the one I'd much rather use. Just because it seems more balanced, it feels more, like, I'll put it this way, it feels more suited. Like, it feels like it wants to do this, It feels like it wants to do this more so than the Delta does. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Pretty sure the Delta just wants to kill you.
I mean,
Well, it's proven that it does that quite well, actually.
Yeah, that is true.
So, I mean, yeah, take your pick. Do you want something that you can drive, or do you want something that will kill you?
I mean,
it
I'll
all
put-
comes down to how big your fear boner is.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I did a 211 in the Delta. I just did a 204.4 in the 205. In fact, yeah, 211.034 in the Delta, 204.420 in the 205 Turbo 16.
Weed.
Yeah, I know, right? And we're only a few days away from that, too.
Dude, weed, Lamau.
Actually, to be fair,
weed every day.
I should now just upload this on that day. Just
Blaze it up and smoke that koosh.
Yeah, but yeah, with a very dominant performance in comparison to 205, it gets the point for the time around Chamonix. And I'm also going to give it the point for driving the car. It's a much nicer car to drive around that tight, massive, holy hell that is Chamonix. It's more balanced. You can easily keep the angle going. It doesn't feel like it's going to snap out on you so much as the Delta does. It feels a lot more poised, a lot more balanced, and honestly, it's a car I'd rather drive out of the two. So yeah, I'm going to give the 205 the point for driving experience, which means we're at a draw. We have a draw, 2-2-1. Yeah, shit. The Delta gets 2 points come from the quarter mile time and the price for performance. Although there really isn't price for performance, it's just performance. Yep.
Performance.
Yep. The 205 gets the 2 points for the driving experience and the time around Chamonix, and then the draw for top speed because really there's not enough of a difference.
Okay, so basically what we've learned is that if you want to actually go around a course, you buy the 205. But if you want to have that sweet supercharger whine, you go with the Delta. That's literally all we've established, and that's all anyone should need to care about. So basically, if you want to actually drive a car and use it as a Group B rally car, get the 205. That's all there is to it. The Delta is just uncontrollable madness that's foaming at the crotch and trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, give you skating.
That's new.
I think he summed it up perfectly. So that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. Next episode, we'll return to the usual format that you've been seeing since episode 7. So stay tuned for that, guys. And as always, if you want to check out what other episodes are followed or planned, the link for the doc for that is in the description down below, as well as links to if you want to submit a clip to highlight reel, which you can fill out a form for that, as well as stuff like my Twitter, my Twitch, my Patreon, and my forum boards. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, take care.